All right, I'm going to invite everyone to join me in putting our palms together, and I'm going to advance the slide. Mr. Tan, when you're ready, you can begin.
Okay, I'm start now. 恭敬大德身体，为之发挥，其一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死离苦得乐。诸真无生。Build the Sangha with great virtue. Our compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and to attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize non-birth. Amitabha.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Namo Sadanto Sucheto Ye Allahati San Miao San Puto Che. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in a billion eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to class. This week's class is class number 38. Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerable Masters, and all good knowing advisors. As usual, we'll begin by reciting the name of Medicine Master Buddha 7 times. Hold on. I was going to do a different tune. Let me get the tune right. Namo, quelling disasters, lengthening life, medicine master, Buddha. 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 Medicine master does come one, medicine master does come one, medicine master does come one, medicine master does come one. Hello, everyone. Okay, let me end this slideshow and pull up the slides for today. while I'm doing that, it's same thing I ask all the time. Does anyone have any questions or remarks or anything they would like to share? I see Ron has something in the chat box. Okay, Ron, I will respond to you on that. Anyone else? Oh, before I forget, Chui, last week there was a question about what was happening for the Lunar New Year or Chinese New Year here. I think Miss Leong said something about we are going to broadcast the. I know we have a 24-hour uh, uh, Great Compassion mantra recitation. Is that going to be broadcasted on Zoom?
This is Chui here, Army for Pastor. I just go according to plan, and I have set up the Zoom link. But the Malaysia situations of MCO is a bit confusing. So we wait for update lah. I will just check with Miss Young, and Miss Young normally will check with Thai Pastor and all this. Yeah, so maybe tomorrow and see how. And we proceed as usual. After that, and the next day on the 14th, I think we're going to have the 3,000 bao, right?
Okay, so we don't know yet, right? So we don't know yet, and then we'll inform everyone through the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Joey. Jin Rosher, you said you had something to share. Do you want to share? How much time do you need so I can allocate you the time towards the end?
Maybe 5 to 7 minutes. Maybe, yeah.
5-7 minutes?
No more than 10 minutes.
No more than 10 minutes. Okay.
For sure. Maybe 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I want to share with people how to protect themselves from so much computer use and cell phones.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I learned some really good things this week.
Okay.
So I want to share with everyone.
Okay, good. Cell phones, they're like, how you say, cell phones and computers are like,
Yes.
just like everything, you can use them for good, but it's very easy to abuse them too.
This is to get the toxins out of your body after you use them so much. Yeah, it has some very good ways.
Okay, good. I'm looking forward to that. Anyone else?
Oh, sure.
Yes, Ron.
This is Ron. I'd like to share about giving and generosity.
Okay. Would you like to do that towards the end of the class? Is that okay?
No problem. No problem.
Okay, great. So how much time do you think you'll need, Ron?
Probably not a lot. I don't. I'm just sharing my experience. That's all.
Okay, good. Looking forward to that as well. So remind me if you see me rambling on and I forget to stop, please someone just remind me later. Okay. So as you can see on your screen, I have two words there, giving and generosity. Both come from the same family of words, and then they have slightly different meanings. And if you look at it, so my plan is, since we are right now in this section of the Medicine Master Buddha Sutra, and it talks about stinginess, and the cure for stinginess is giving and generosity. So my plan is to spend a bit of time, a few weeks on this, and I would like to take you from the teachings in the Pali Canon that the Buddha gave, because a lot of the teachings in the Pali Canon that the Buddha gave to lay people were all about giving and generosity, and from there we will mix in Shufu's instructions for us regarding giving. And from the Pali Canon, we will move to the Mahayana text, which then, so from giving as in a practice that's really relevant to people like us, we move on to the Bodhisattva way of giving, into the perfection of giving, and is relevant as well, but it's also really inspiring. So that's my plan, to go into why we should give, and then how we should give, and then all the different ways of giving, the intention behind giving. And I'm also really excited because in preparing all the notes for these few weeks classes, I'm actually learning a lot. There's a lot about giving that I didn't know. So giving is one of the, if you look at all the teachings in Buddhism, giving is one of the most highly praised of all the virtues. As we mentioned before, it is the foundational practice, not just for lay people, but for all spiritual practice. Giving lays the foundation for everything else that comes along. In fact, if you look at what an ichantika is, an ichantika is a Pali or Sanskrit word, and it means someone who has no opportunity in enlightenment. That's not quite true. If we look at the Lotus Sutra, it says that all living beings have the Buddha nature, which means they can become Buddhas. But ichantikas just take a longer time than everyone else. You think of the worst person in the world, ichantika will take longer than even that person in uncovering their wholesome seeds or planting wholesome seeds. So it is said that an ichantika has no generosity, or it's really, really hard for them to be generous and to practice giving. I think they do practice giving, but they only do it if they can benefit from the giving. So giving also helps us in our attachments to material possessions. I'm not sure about all of you, but when I was a lay person, I will certainly, rule my life. How I saw myself, my image of myself was definitely tied in and controlled by the things that I had. The things that I had were part of my identity. Giving enables blessings and merit to be generated, which is really, really important. And finally, giving is actually the first paramita, which is perfected by a bodhisattva and is perfected on the first ground. Yeah. So let's continue. This slide that you see is from last week, and I thought I would just share it again. And the Buddha saying, I'm not going to read it, but the Buddha just saying that giving and sharing is so important that he says that if you only knew how beneficial it was, everyone would be doing it, even if it was the last mouthful of rice that they had. And today we're going to find out how or why. Why does the Buddha say this? Okay, we're going to find out today. And so this is what Shufu has to say. This is taken from the book Talks on Dharma in volume 1. Shufu says, if we want to thoroughly understand the truths of Buddhism, then we must first cultivate patience and giving. Then we can come to accomplishment. We must turn ourselves around and be different from ordinary people. Oh, let's use a typo there. ROM should be FROM, from ordinary people. We can no longer flow along with the turbid currents of the world. Cultivating the way simply means to turn ourselves around. What is that? It means to give desirable situations and benefits to other people while absorbing the unfavorable situations of ourselves. We renounce the petty self in order to bring perfection to the greater self. So that's what Shufu has to say about patience and giving. Okay. Why give? This is from the Pali Canon. If you want to trace it, it's AN 5.35. It's called the rewards of giving. It says, these are the Buddha's words. It says, these are the 5 rewards of generosity. Number 1, you are dear and appealing to people at large. Number 2, you are admired by good people. Number 3, your good name, you are famous, but for the good, for proper reasons, your good name is spread about. Number 4, one does not stray from the rightful duties of the householder. And number 5, with the breakup of the body at death, one reappears in a good destination in the heavenly worlds. What does it mean? Does it mean that if you give, this is what will happen to you? I think it means more than that. I tend to look at texts like this as in someone who already is part of their habit. Generosity becomes part of them. Their personality is as someone who's inclined to always share and be generous. Someone like that would have this kind of qualities. What would their personality be like? And as a result of that personality, they would have these 5 benefits. Yeah, so it's a whole. So giving, you can't look at giving in isolation. Like I just give and expect these 5 things to happen. But I think giving is the result of a whole host of supporting factors that enables these 5 things to happen. What are the supporting factors? I think that's very personal. It depends on the individual. So as we go through today's slides, you have to reflect within yourself what you need in order to be able to develop this virtue of giving and generosity. Okay. Then, so most of this is from the Pali Canon. Buddha says, no misers go to the world of the devas. Those who don't praise giving are fools. The enlightened express their approval for giving and so find ease in the world beyond. Okay, so if you go to the heavens, the one of the main reasons you get reborn in the heavens is because you're not stingy. You don't want things only for yourself and not care about others. So you can't find any stingy people in the heavens. Basically, that's what Buddha is saying. And in SN 1.32, the Buddha says, what the miser fears that keeps him from giving is the very danger that comes when he doesn't give. So isn't that kind of ironic in a certain sense, if from the viewpoint of of someone who's stingy? So why is a person not generous? Well, because they are attached to what they have and they cannot let it go. And they are afraid that when they give, it goes away and then they end up with nothing, right? That's basically the fear that they have. So what the Buddha is saying is that that's precisely what's going to happen to you if you don't give. If you try to hoard your wealth or your knowledge, in your next life, you're going to end up with none of that. So giving is actually an investment. It's an investment into your own future. So I after doing all the reading for this week's class, I realized that giving is like you start out with maybe $1,000. Everyone around you has $1,000, and a person who's stingy just keeps that $1,000 like really close. They are really afraid to share, whereas there are other people who use the $1,000 for other good things. But because they use it for other good things, they actually get a return on their investment, so to speak, on their, and they get more back. So the $1,000 multiplies into more and more depending on how much they share. But so or you can say that because one person is generous with their money, they help other people. When those other people have things, they give it back. So the person who, $1,000, you spend $500, but people repay their kindness with all kinds of things, with rice, with fish, with soy sauce, with dwelling medicine. So he may be $500 short, but in other things, he has definitely a lot more. Whereas the person who started out with 1,000 and hoards that 1,000 only has 1,000 at the end. And as we go along, we will see that the Buddha even says that your 1,000 might be stolen by someone else, and you end up with nothing at all. Yeah. So think of giving as an investment for your own future. So the Buddha says, even if a person throws the rinsings of a bowl or a cup into a village pool or pond, thinking, may whatever animals live here feed on this, he says that would be a source of merit. And if we have enough time, there's going to be a sutra towards the end where the Buddha repeats this again. Yeah. So there's kind of a story related to this. But before I go to the story, did anyone read in the past week? I thought it was very appropriate. There was this news article about a lady in America. I think the headline that on the article that I saw was the miser millionaire or something. Okay, so this lady, this is what she does. She used to be homeless. So right now she's a millionaire, and I don't remember how she became a millionaire, but it's true from a lot of it is not being how you say she doesn't spend money unnecessarily. So for example, in the article she says that it takes exactly 22 minutes for her hot water heater to heat up the water so that she can take a bath or a shower. So what she does is once she turns on the water heater, she times it at for exactly 22 minutes, then she turns it off. And then what else? She doesn't buy new clothes. All right. She only, I think she buys either old clothes or she just keeps on wearing her clothes until they wear out. And then what else? She sometimes eats cat food to save money. And she also, if she has guests, I think she also serves them cat food as well. So I was reading the article, and then I realized that the hot water heater thing is actually pretty. You can say that it's very frugal because she's not wasting excess. I'm talking about the act itself. I don't know her state of mind, her true intention, but the act itself is actually I would classify it as being frugal. What's frugal? Frugal may look like stinginess, but it's done with wisdom and is always based on the right. Um, is the right thing to do at the right time. You're not unnecessarily wasting money. So frugal might be turning off the lights when you leave the room. If you're the last one to leave the room, that's being frugal because leaving the lights on just consumes electricity. Compared to say stingy would be you have people in the room, but you only turn on maybe half the lights to save money, but it's not bright enough for people to say read or do the things that they need to do. That would be stingy. Stingy is doing something to save money, but there's no wisdom or consideration behind it. So turning off the hot water at 22 minutes, I think that can be safely classified. I would call that being frugal, not being stingy. And then wearing old clothes, I think that's being frugal as well. Unless you really need um, to have something new, old clothes just work just as fine, and is in especially for people who have lived through hard times. I'm not talking about poor families, but say in going through a depression time, people understand that having new clothes is considered a luxury. So I think old clothes can be considered being frugal as well. Eating cat food to save money, so you don't. She eats the cat tuna instead of buying tuna that's marketed for humans. That one I'm not so sure. I think that is a personal thing. um, yeah, so that is really hard to put judgment on, although it's not a socially accepted norm, but I think that's a very personal decision. And then serving cat food to your guests, I think that crosses a line. I think that would be really stingy. Yeah, to not treat your guests with with the respect or not being a good host. Yeah, in fact, in the Bodhisattva precepts, we have a few precepts that explicitly state how when you have a guest, how generous you have to be. Yeah, because those are qualities of a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva would, when they have a guest, either a guest monk or a lay guest person, they would never, if you look at the Bodhisattva precepts, they never ever say that money is more important than people. I get the impression that money is just a tool, but people are how you achieve Buddhahood. So if you ever put money, you ever put in a situation where you don't want to spend the money for someone to the detriment of their well-being, then I think that does not accord with what the Bodhisattva precepts are trying to do, which is trying to break your attachment to money and realize that crossing people over, which translates to how you treat people in your mind, is more important. Okay, let's continue. Enough
Yeah,
about.
excuse me, Tofu, is this a story? Is this
Uh,
a story about the I read the story, the same one about the black woman? Was she's a black woman, right? The
no,
story that you tell about.
no. This was a Caucasian lady.
Oh, okay, because that's another similar one about a black woman who was on welfare, and she started baking out of her house, and her bakery turned into a multi business, and the happiest day in her life was when she got off welfare.
So, can you say that again?
Yeah, there was a black woman who had been on welfare all her life, and she started baking cookies and cakes and out of her house, and it turned into $1 million business. She became a millionaire within a few years. And she said the happiest day in her life is when she got off welfare.
Oh, okay. Meaning like a mark of being self-sufficient?
Right. Yeah, it was the happiest day in her life.
Wow.
So, but she's also very, very frugal. But she's also very giving. She supports children and families and, many people. She's very, very generous. Anyway.
Okay.
I just wonder if it's the same story.
Thanks. No, this is a different story.
A different one.
Yeah, in this story, there doesn't seem to be any reporting on this person's generosity. In fact, I'm not sure if the reporter or the writer is trying to sensationalize the story. So it's not fair to judge a person based on that. But it but it did say that this person actually, she admitted to serving cat food to her guests because she wanted to save money.
Well, that would be, I get it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think that crosses many lines. Okay, so I actually have one story, and I don't have it in a slide, so I'll just verbally mention it. So when the Buddha was around, Shakyamuni Buddha, King Pasenadi of Kosala went to the Buddha and told him that, he said, "Just now, Lord, a money-lending householder died, and I have come from conveying his heirless fortune. This person didn't have family, but he was a very rich person. So the money went to the royal palace instead." So the king told the Buddha, he said, the amount of this fortune was 10 million in silver, to say nothing of the gold, meaning the gold was even more than the silver. And the king said, but this person was very peculiar. He said, although he was very rich, he said, this is the food that he enjoyed. He only ate broken rice and pickled brine. His enjoyment of clothing was 3 lengths of hempen cloth. Hempen cloth is very coarse. It scratches you. And, he could write in a very proper cart, but instead he wrote in a broken down cart that wasn't very comfortable. So broken rice, for people who know, broken rice is cheaper than whole grain rice, and so it's cheaper. It's considered as an inferior grade of rice. So the Buddha explained. He said, "Yeah, the King Pasenadi, that's the way it is." He says, in the past, what happened to this layperson was that there was a Pracheka Buddha in the world, and this Pracheka Buddha's name was Tagarashiki. So this layperson gave alms asked his servant to give alms to the Pracheka Buddha. And then after the servant had given the alms, this layperson regretted the act. He said, "Oh, he says I shouldn't have asked my servant to give alms to this mendicant. He says I should have kept the food for my own servants instead." So right then, the generosity or the act of giving that he performed became a mixed blessing. So giving is positive, it's wholesome, but the mind behind the giving wasn't wholesome at all. He actually regretted giving it to the Pracheka Buddha. He didn't know it. I don't think you would know if you meet a Pracheka Buddha. So the Buddha said, as a result of this action, the wholesome result was that this layperson appeared 7 times in a heavenly world. Okay, but after the 7 times, after his 7 rebirths in the heavenly world, he was reborn back in this world, and because the mind, the nature of his mind behind the giving to the Pracheka Buddha was one of regret. So being born back in the world of man, although he was very rich, his mind made him unable to enjoy the blessings that he had. Does that, you get it? So it wasn't that he didn't have blessings, he had blessings, but his mental blessings, or you could say his mental karma, prevented him from being able to enjoy his blessings. He became really stingy, in other words. Okay, all right. So let's move on. Oh, this is a repeat slide. Excuse me. Okay, so the Buddha says, what is given isn't lost. He says, so when the world is on fire with aging and death, one should salvage one's wealth by giving. What's given is well salvaged. What's given bears fruit as pleasure. What isn't given does not. Thieves take it away, or kings, or it gets burned by fire, or it gets lost. Some people bury their treasure and then they can't find it anymore. Or, you invest, you're stingy, you want more, you invest and you lose your money. So the Buddha is saying that there will come a time when your life ends, and whatever wealth you have accumulated, whatever assets that you have, if you don't give it away, that's it. You're not going to be able to bring it with you to your next life. So giving, again, is an investment for your future. Keeping it yourself does not benefit anyone at all. In fact, that mindset behind the stinginess is only going to come back and bite you in the back when you return, when you're reborn again. So I've always had this question, like, okay, the Buddha says giving generates returns, right? But how much return do we actually get? If you are, I studied finance before. There's something called the return on investment. It's called ROI. What is going to be my ROI if I practice giving, right? Are we supposed to just accept that the Buddha says you give, you get back, you give, you get back? How much do we actually get back? So I was very excited, and I found the next thing we're going to talk about. It's called MN142, Rewards of Giving. Okay, it's Daki Navi. Let me see if I can get this right. Daki Navi Banga Sutta. Okay, the rewards of giving. So here the Buddha is speaking to Ananda. He says, herein Ananda, by giving a gift, says to an animal, the offering may be expected to repay 100-fold. Okay, so now we know. Okay, you give food out of kindness to an animal in respect of their well-being. Buddha says you can be expected to repay 100-fold. To an immoral, ordinary person, 1,000-fold. That's pretty good too. This is to someone who doesn't follow the 5 precepts. And it says to a virtuous, ordinary person, 100,000-fold. This kind of investment rates you can never find 100,000-fold means you invest $1, you get back $100,000. It's unheard of in this Saha world to, in whatever financial system that you have to get that kind of returns. If there is, you're probably going to get cheated in return for being so greedy. So be careful. If someone promises you 100-fold, 1,000-fold, 100,000-fold. So the Buddha continues. He says, to one outside the dispensation who is free from lust for sensual pleasures 100,000 times 100,000-fold. What is someone outside the dispensation? I think, I'm not sure if I'm correct. Someone who knows, you can share. I think it's someone who is not on the Buddha's path, but is how you say, but practices how you say, to be free of lust for sensual pleasure. So some yogis, some holy people, I believe this is describing people like that. And then the next one is to one who has entered upon the way to the realization of the fruit of stream entry. So this is not a stream and what's the right word? Stream enterer. This is not a stream enterer, but he's on the path to become a stream enterer. Okay, so the Buddha said, oh, this offering is incalculable, immeasurable. You cannot calculate how much the return of your investment will be. Remember, a few weeks ago, we had this chart that what's that curve that goes all the way up? A compounding curve that steeply rises up to become a vertical line, something like that. Okay. Now let's continue. So we're talking about someone who's on the way to become a stream enterer, not yet a stream enterer. Then the Buddha says, what then should be said about giving a gift to a stream enterer? And then what then to one who has entered upon the way to the realization of the fruit of a once returner? And then the Buddha talks about a once returner, and then someone on the way to becoming a non-returner, and then someone who is a non-returner already. And then the Buddha then goes about talking about what then about someone who's going to become an arhat, and then someone who's already an arhat, and then someone who is a Pacheka Buddha or Pracheka Buddha. And then the Buddha says, what should, then he concludes with, how about a Tathagata, a Buddha, a fully accomplished and fully enlightened one? So the Buddha is comparing, say, from an animal, you already get 100-fold. And then he goes on. And then once you go to the level of a sage, he says, there's no way that you can even put it into words, the returns that you can get. Yeah. All right. So now we have proof of the Buddha giving an actual number to our rate of investment on giving. Yeah. Okay. The next one is AN 8.59, one worthy of gifts. The Buddha here describes who is one worthy of gifts. It says there are these eight individuals who are worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of reverential salutation, like if you bow to someone, the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. Which eight? It says the one who has entered the stream, the one who has entered upon the course for the realization for the fruit of stream entry, the once returner, the ones who has entered upon the course for the realization of the fruit of once returning, the non-returner, and then he concludes with the one on arahatship. So basically, the Buddha here is saying the four levels of sages, stream entery, once returner, non-returner, and the arhat. That makes four. And people who are on their way to achieving this, they're not, say, like, you're not yet a stream enterer, but you are definitely going to be a stream enterer soon. So 4 times 2 makes 8. So it says these 8, I'll just read the last paragraph. It says, these are the 8 individuals who are worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of reverential salutation, the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. Okay, so let me see, it's 9:40. 9:40. Let me share another story, and then if we have time, we'll continue. But after I share this story, we'll give some time to Jinroshe and to Ron, and I'll read the chat box. I know Miss Yap has something she's asking about. So this happened during the Buddha's time. This story, unfortunately, let me see. Do I have the name of this story? No. Okay. So during this Buddha's time, Shakyamuni Buddha, it was said that there's this really, really poor couple. They were so poor that they didn't have a house or even a hut. So they had to live in a cave. And their only possession was a pair of trousers, a pair of pants. And they would take turns wearing the pants, and the person who wore the pants had to go out to beg. And that's how poor they were. I think Shufu also shared this story. I don't remember in which sutra. If I'm not mistaken, it's either the Lotus Sutra or the Avatamsaka Sutra. So one day, a Prachaka Buddha came. They encountered a Prachaka Buddha. In this version of the story, it is said that the Prachaka Buddha came to test them to see if they were greedy, but I'm not so sure about that because there are different accounts of this story. In any case, that's not important. The important thing is they encountered a Prachaka Buddha, and the first thing that came to their mind was that they wanted to make offerings to this monk. And because they didn't have any possessions among them, with a sincere mind, they decided to offer their trousers. The only thing they had. Okay, the trousers was the only thing they had, and it was the only way they could survive because, you can't go to town naked. If you go to town naked, people look at you weird, and it's very hard to get anything, any food or money to live by. So they were really sincere when they offered their only possession to the Prachaka Buddha. So what happened was the Prachaka Buddha then took the pants and offered it to the Buddha, to Shakyamuni Buddha. So Shakyamuni Buddha knew what was going on. And in his next Dharma talk, he related this story and he praised the two donors for their selfless act. So it just so happened that the king of the country was in the Dharma assembly. And when he heard about the Buddha talking about how poor these people were, he became really ashamed. He was a very good king. He said that how come there are such poor people in living in my country? He felt as if he had not fulfilled his responsibility as a king. So he directed his staff to go look for the couple and to reward them. And he says this is known as giving something and being rewarded 10,000 times over. Yeah. Okay. So let me call on Dhamma Master Jinro. Jinro, are you ready?
Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about some things you can do to restore your energy after you use cell phones or computers, or you've been online. Right now, so many of our students are online, even kindergartens online for many hours a day. So one thing you can do, the best thing you can do is to walk outside barefoot for 15 minutes a day. Or you can walk, or you can squat, you can sit. But the most important thing is to get your feet on the earth, and the earth will absorb the energy and restore your body. Your mind, it'll settle you down, restore your mind and your body and your spirit. It's cold right now. We can't do that here. What we can do is we can hug a tree. You can go outside, find a big tree, and hug a tree. And what I mean is to really put your body right on the tree, to really lean against the tree and to lean into it. And I did that one day, and I just leaned into the tree, and I waited and I waited. And suddenly I felt like I was in the tree. and the tree was all around me. And when I did, I felt just kind of a lifting of energy and kind of shifting of my whole attitude and my whole being at that moment, because I had been working with a cell phone and some other electronics. The other thing you can do is, if you don't have a tree to hug and it's too cold to walk outside barefoot, you can soak your feet in water at night before you go to bed. Anyone can do that in warm water, and save the water to water your plants. But the water will take the energy from your body. It's different than a bath. It's different because the water is putting the energy down, all the way down. And the water transforms the toxins very quickly, just like that. You can feel the difference right away. So that's one thing to do. Try to save the water, or reheat it or something, or use it for a tree. If you don't have a tree and you can't soak your feet, if you have a plant in your house, just sit in front of the plant and just absorb the energy of the plant, and it will also help you with the toxins. But you gotta do it for a while. You have to really sit there and really breathe in the color green, and that will help you. So one more thing that will help is to have a stone in your pocket.
JinRoshi, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you say that again? To have what in your pocket?
A stone.
A stone.
A rock.
Okay. All right.
A rock. Most kids have a rock in their pocket. I always had one when I was growing up. And I only touched about 1,000 times a day. Kids who have stones in their pockets touch them hundreds of times a day. So you touch a stone, it's the same thing, the energy, the electrons and toxins, even your anger, your sadness, your grief, your hurt will go into the stone. The stone will take it. It will absorb it. A lot of people put stones on their desk, which is one way to do it. Behind your computer, all around your computer, you put stones. Like a big stone, it will absorb the energy also. I have a plant in front of your computer that also helps, especially a plant that has like a long leaf, like a blade plant that will absorb the energy. So with a stone, after you use the stone, though, it's best to soak it in water with salt, and that will restore the stone because it will absorb a lot of energy. Stones are very small. So even have a big stone, it's very important to cleanse it in salt water, just salt water. You can then just soak in there for a while, and that will change the energy. You should at least soak your stone once a day if you use it.
So JinRoshi, you are saying that the stone that you use, either on your table or in your pocket, you need to, for lack of a better word, recharge the stone in salt water?
Got it.
Okay.
You recharge it, yeah, right, you do, because it's small, and it's not like water. Water can disperse, but the stone can't disperse the energy; it can hold it. So you need to recharge it in water. There are a lot of different stones that are used that will absorb a lot of toxins and things, electronic toxins and different things. I don't know what they are. You need to find out what they are. But if you can't find a special one, or any stone, it doesn't matter what, it's a stone that you like and feel good about. You can put in your pocket, you can reach down there and hold in the day. And just have good thoughts. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Where you can help your family, children, and if you work with computers, it should help you if it does. Amitabha.
Thanks, JinRoshi. You have a question? The question is it better to walk on grass or on a tarred road?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter. If you have grass to walk on, that's wonderful. Any kind of dirt. If nothing else, a pavement. A pavement is not the best, but it will help. But you can stand, just have to walk and stand.
And then there's also another question. Does the size of the stone make a difference?
Oh, you got to have a stone to fit in your pocket that you can hold on to. Not too big, not too big. But on your desk, you put it inside you want to. I have kind of a big rose stone that is pretty big. So wherever you put it, it's just got to fit where you put it. Okay, any more questions?
Okay, so there is one question. It says, do you revitalize the stone every day? I guess
If you use it, yes. If you use it, yeah. If you have it on your desk, you don't have to do it every day, but if you handle it a lot, it's a small stone. The bigger stones don't need it as much, but the small stones do need it. I don't know, every day I really haven't, if you have time. If you don't, it's probably okay too, just when you remember to do it.
And
not very long at all. You can do like a couple of minutes. It happens very fast. Water takes things immediately.
So JinRoshi is responding to a question asking how long do we need to soak the stone?
Oh, you can do it. You can do 1 minute, 5 minutes. The longer the better, but it doesn't matter. About 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So, water, even for a second, water will absorb the energy and take it away just like that.
So for anyone who wants to do a digital detox, you can follow JinRoshi's advice and report back to see if it works. Yeah.
And you can check on this information because I just picked it up here and there. You can check it. You can probably find a lot out there. A lot of people have a lot of answers to this. So if you have more information, let me know. And I'll add it to my list.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Sorry. This is Sue from Malaysia. I just wonder, because basically, because you were saying it is good to walk on the road or the grass, fine. But the thing is, in Malaysia, usually when we are in our home, we actually barefoot. Do that action, we actually do not wear shoes in the house. So being that, does it help to get rid of toxins because the house is connected to the earth?
Well, it depends. Is it wood floor? If your floor is not synthetic, you understand what I mean?
Sorry, say again.
If your floor is not synthetic, if it's wood, if it's a natural wood or stone.
A cement?
Cement, no. Cement,
okay.
Cement, it blocks the energy. It will send it back up to you.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, JinRoshi.
Okay, sure.
I'm going to call on Ron right now. Ron, are you there?
Sorry, I had to unmute my mic. I was speaking and then realized my mic wasn't on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I guess what I wanted to say about giving is like in this country, the business is really, there's a business of collecting donations now. So it's hard to give and to give anonymously, every time you give, your name is taken down and it's actually that list is sold around to other charities. And it often, in my mind, it becomes an obstacle, to want to give because I don't want to have my name sold around to other organizations. And then the other thing is that with giving, these companies, they it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like it's almost just a business. You know what I mean? So it takes the fun out of that. But actually, it was because of the I started giving. I think when I was starting at work, and it was the fact that I could take a tax break. I mean, a tax deduction. That it allowed me to enter. You know, to just start the practice of giving. But now it's much more easy. Um, it's easy to give. I mean, it's not such a problem. Anyway, if anybody can suggest, you know, how one can give anonymously, I've really some ideas about giving anonymously. That would be good.
So Ron, your issue, if I understand correctly, is one of privacy,
Yes.
as in a lot of the organizations that you give to, they record down your particulars, and sometimes it's a business in selling these names to other organizations as
Yes.
well. Okay. So, and your question is if there is a way to give anonymously, you would like to find out
Yes.
how. Okay. When I was hearing you, Ron, and anyone who has anything, please respond either in the chat box or you just unmute your mic. But the first thing that came to mind, Ron, when I was listening to you, it's a different thing. Okay, it's totally different. But I recalled the stories of the in the Dharma, in the sutras, when the Buddha would share stories of people who were really generous. They always wanted everyone to know. They would say, let the whole town, let everyone in the town know that I'm willing to give them whatever they seek. And I think in the perfection of giving that we are going to explore in the next few weeks, the Bodhisattva who practices giving is always, how you say, always delighted when, because in my mind I was picturing you receiving mailers from other organizations, and then a Bodhisattva would be in the stories would be delighted in having more opportunities to give.
But
I'm not commenting on your story, Ron, because yours is different. Yours is an issue of privacy and not about giving.
actually, giving can be. There's a negative side to giving when one always thinks about, oh, um, what's the word? I've given to this organization. I give to that organization, and you know it can become a boast. You know, you can boast about it all the time. You know, and that's where you know I like to keep my ego out of this thing. You know, that's why I want to have anonymous giving. You know, if you turn on to any of the public broadcasting stations, you know, all those they always mention, you know, when you see a program, they always thank the donors. You know, there's all these foundations and their names, you know, and it's plastered all over. Um, uh, I think that the giving, the way it's give, the way the the action of giving in America has been kind of perverted. You know, we want to give, but we want other people to know us. We want, you know, we want our name somewhere. You know, and I think that that shouldn't be the first reason to give, and it should not be the first reason to like I need a I need a tax deduction in order to give. You know, you should give regardless of whether you get a tax deduction or not. But it doesn't help to have a tax deduction. You know.
Well, maybe we can
Sure,
discuss. Yes, so
may I give my suggestions to Ron? Ron, Amitabha Su here. How are you?
Amitabha Su.
Okay, Fasha, if may I just a few minutes?
Sure. We are running out of time, so you can.
I know.
I keep it short. If not, you can WhatsApp Ron as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A short one. What I do is, if I have the bank account number, I bank in straight the cash. I would not transfer. I will bank in straight the cash, and that is it, so that nobody knows
I don't understand what you
who
mean
is going to who.
banking.
Yeah.
Bank in, that means I go to ATM, I put in cash to the organization. There's one way to do it.
How you can do that without, everything has a
Yes.
time to it in the US,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ron
Yeah,
is slightly different in America. So
Oh, I see. Okay. Mm.
Oh, and the
Okay.
last thing I want to finish off, so not to be misunderstood, that it's not that I've forgotten my point here, but to give is in the Vajra Sutra, it's the Vajra Sutra or the Heart Sutra. It says that you shouldn't give and then think about, oh, I gave, that I gave, and I'm such a good person now, and I've exonerated myself, I vindicated myself, and that I read that and I thought, oh yeah, okay, and I started to change after I read something like that. Okay, that's all. I'm done.
thanks, Ron. I get your point in that the Dharma teaches us to give and not get attached to the thought of giving, and to be mindful if one gets attached to that. Maybe we can discuss this further next week. I do have slides about the intention behind giving, but I just wanted to say, Ron, and everyone who's listening, is that there are things that we can control and things that we can't. What can we control is how we respond to our own acts of giving or generosity, and whether we are giving for recognition or not, or fame. Only we know ourselves, and that's called practice. Being able to overcome that or deal with that's our own internal practice. We shouldn't let how other people, or other organizations, how they deal with it, affect our giving. So don't let it become a case of just because they may use your name for other reasons that you end up not giving at all. I think that would be the wrong thing. And as for the way they use your name, whether does it lead you to get attached to fame, that's not their fault. If someone gets attached to they are giving, it's that person's responsibility to work on their attachment. It's to me, it's two separate things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you try to explore being able to give, regardless of who you're giving to, and not let them affect how you feel. They can certainly affect who you choose to give to, but not whether you get attached or not, because that's under your control. That shouldn't be dictated by them. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we can continue this next week. It's 10:05. Let me change the slides. Should have done that earlier. And we can dedicate merit, and I have so many things to talk about sharing. Unfortunately, there's only so much time in a class. Yeah. Okay. Going to invite everyone to join me in putting our palms together as we dedicate merit. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, so we're going to do 3 bows to Buddha and then to Shufu. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Bowing respect to the Venerable Master. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week. We'll see you next week. So we have a class next week, although it's going to be, I'm not sure exactly what day the Lunar New Year is. We have things going on at the monastery, which we will, at the moment we can confirm if it's going to be on Zoom. I'll let everyone know. But the class will still continue as normal. Okay. And in the meantime, practice giving and come back to us if you have anything to share. All right. Okay. Amitabha, everyone. Bye-bye.
Amitabha, thank you, 法师。